Hi everyone, number one Marmaduke fan here. Throughout America, people are already putting out Christmas stuff before Thanksgiving, but here we're still going to celebrate Halloween all throughout November. So, Nancy Drew, it's the case of the cold case. I really like Jen St. Ange's art. It almost saved this book for me. Some of her profiles, I think, it's obviously manga inspired, but it's not as cute as manga. But overall, it has a nice, cute, kind of kid friendly look. But Kelly Thompson, I feel like I've seen her name somewhere. I don't buy books I expect to be bad on purpose anymore because I don't want to put money into a machine to fire out a boxing glove in my face and say, "You're racist," right? That's kind of a dumb idea to me. Once in a while, though, I get a free book or I buy something for 50 cents by accident. And it's a case of the why does this exist? Why are you doing this this way? Uh, Basically, I haven't read the original Nancy Drew novels. My sisters did, so I picked up some things by osmosis. Nancy Drew is a cute high school girl who will go solving mysteries, and they could be who stole Mrs. Smith's apple pie, or she could maybe be getting caught up in like a real dangerous situation where she's like busting the what is it? The bootleggers selling illegal liquor in 1920, and because she's been around so long, you could kind of like rework her to work in any decade. She could be running around in the flapper outfit with the torch with a flat candle in it that you hold by a handle, or she could be living in the 60s or the 70s or the 80s. Like very simple, straightforward, young girl solves mysteries kind of stories. Now, Kelly Thompson actually doesn't have her solving many mysteries. She has like this overlong verbiage where she's complaining about people. Man, they have a herd mentality. But me, I'm like a shark. Keep moving or die. Like she's a badass James Bond. And then she's got like a stupid little goat that she's trying to say. All right, so problem number one is condescending. Nancy Drew is a character who could go on, silly little mysteries like which first grader took the cookie from the cookie jar. Nancy Drew will use the process of elimination to deduce it. But the stupid little kind of thing, hey kid, aren't we so silly billy thing, is someone kidnapped the goat mascot. You have to infer all of this, so it'd actually be kind of tough for a kid to infer. The biggest mystery wouldn't be catching the villain. The biggest mystery would be figuring out what the plot is supposed to be using context clues. But this nerdy little guy, furry guy, wanted to dress up as the goat and be the mascot. So he kidnapped the goat so he could be the replacement. And Nancy Drew rescued the goat and brought him in there and told him, hey, you got to feed the goat and apologize to me. And we aren't seeing her solve the mystery. We're seeing after the fact, like, oh, she's a myth we solve, but she figures everything out. We don't know how she figured it out. She just figured it out. And this pattern starts emerging of why is it that there are so many lesbians? Why is it that so many of the men have anger issues or they're weak and nasty? Why is it that Nancy Drew... he deserves to be cheated. I'm going to read you the full context of that, but that's a poisonous thing to put in media for children. And probably like the stupid, easy thing you could do is literally just flip it around and see if it works. Now, I don't think you can do this all the time because men and women are different. You can't just imagine a female character is a male character and a male character is a female character and things are going to be weird because men aren't women, right? But that's actually a pretty good rule of thumb if you want to check to see if you're doing something nasty or if you're sending a bad moral message. Like if you had... I don't know. Let me think of an alternative. Okay, so James Bond, right? Like I don't think James Bond's sexual debauchery is a good moral standard for me to follow. I look at James Bond as a roguish anti-hero type of character where part of the appeal is that he's this womanizer and he goes on these silly James Bond over the top a giant laser cannon kind of stories, right? It's a dumb, fun the anti-hero type of character. So, is Nancy Drew supposed to be an anti? I don't think so. I think she's supposed to be being held up here as a great feminist, powerful, strong female character model. So, can you imagine a male teenage detective saying that he wouldn't take on a case for a girl at the high school because he hates her guts and he thinks she deserves to be cheated on because she's such a she calls him paranoid if he called her crazy. The Twitter meltdown would be epic. Like, if you say the word crazy and woman in the same sentence, you clearly hate all women, right? So then why are we doing this in the reverse then? It's because the standards don't matter. When you try to make an argument of consistency to someone who is operating within a postmodern intersectional framework, they don't care about the logical consistency of it. People who say girls and boys should be raised the same will then say, I'm going to raise my boy to understand his complicity in the patriarchy. How can you raise your boy to understand his complicity in the patriarchy unless you know he's a boy? And even if you do know he's a boy, doesn't that violate raise boys and girls the same? It's because raise girls and boys the same actually isn't a objective moral principle to them. Their moral principles are subjective. They're convenient to whatever is going on right now. So 22 glorious hot shower minutes later, hey Mia, hey, so we got the usual nonsense stacking up, but there is one interesting case here, I think. Greg Smalls has, no, absolutely not. But, no, he's a jerk. He wants us spying on his girlfriend, Mia, and I'm not doing that crap again. He's the worst. He deserves to be cheated on. Assuming she's cheating, which she's not, because he's paranoid. And again, see previous note about being the worst. I refuse to use our powers for evil, even just the mediocre, unimaginative, slightly boorish kind of evil. Understood. Hey, Kelly. You know what you forgot to do in this story? Have Nancy Drew solve a mystery. So, here we go. Haven't done this in a while. No child should be reading that. Let's get it really good and ripped. Cheating is wrong, Kelly. All right, with that out of the way, Blastosaurus is one of my favorites. Like, this is a really genuine, like, creepy story, and what was weird about it was it kind of violated my expectations. So I read it, and it's got like a giant dinosaur superhero and two little kids. And I thought, oh, that's sort of sweet. It's kind of like the little kids are imaginative, and it's like he's their imaginary friend, but he's real, and he solves crime. And this is a self-contained story, and I'm not going to spoil it because it's a really great Halloween, like, classic ghost story kind of a thing where it's not gross or disturbing. It's completely G-rated, but it deeply unsettled me, and it's a perfect ghost story. Really. I guess the thing I was expecting was like the superhero to burst in and beat up the guy, and then it just ends with this like mysterious hook at the end that kind of leaves you a little unsettled. So yeah, I'm really interested. Story and art by Richard Fairgray. He has kind of like an exaggerated cartoony style. Blastosaurus seems to be like just kind of like a cool superhero kind of dude. So I won't spoil it, but definitely completely fascinating. Archie's Madhouse, they're Archie comics, so there's not much to say. I just thought it was interesting that one of these is a Dan DeCarlo story, and I really love Dan DeCarlo. Like, Archie comics are just but Dan DeCarlo not only, I think, like, defined the look of Archie comics. If you ever look at his illustrations, this wasn't inked by Dan DeCarlo, but he was a really gorgeous illustrator. Very good, like, cartoon sensibility. His brush work was very fluid. Just like a really surprising gem from cartoon history. So I'm going to save this just because it's a Dan DeCarlo style book. I'll say both of them, I guess. Archie, maybe this is what Nancy Drew needed. What she needed, like, rather than just like always like bashing boys about their anger issues, maybe we just need some like nice all-American types of characters. I don't think Archie should live in any decade outside of 1950. And the theme song for Happy Days should always be playing in the background behind Archie. They are exactly what they are. They're so stupid simple. They're kind of a sneaky way of putting girls in pretty outfits in a G-rated context. I really enjoyed the Dan DeCarlo one. They're so simple, like they're unreviewable. But definitely check out Blastosaurus by Richard Fairgray. He has some jokes about all the other things he's doing, so go check him out. Facebook.com/Blastosaurus. All right, with that, I'm #1 Marmaduke fan. I love you guys. Adultery is wrong. Catch you later.